So imagine this. You step into a hallway that doesn't seem that strange at first. But then, you swear you saw the floor move. Your watch starts ticking backward. The hallway you just walked down suddenly stretches into the distance, like it's rubber. You blink, and suddenly it's night. Or has it been night for days? That's the thing about the backrooms. Time doesn't move here. It spasms, it skips, it stutters, it breaks. And once you're inside, there's no guarantee you'll ever experience reality the same way again. Let's unravel this mess. Something the explorers call Phenomenon 57, or acronism. It's basically a fancy way of saying time is broken. And it's not broken in a cool sci-fi way, it's broken in a terrifying, unfixable way. Imagine standing still and watching a digital clock melt through hours in seconds. Or worse, watching it tick once and never again. Analog clocks, digital ones, don't bother. Even if the hands move, they don't mean anything. What you feel inside, the passage of seconds, the buildup of exhaustion, or even pain, might not match what any device is telling you. Because here, time isn't a rule. It's a suggestion. And it's a cruel one. Picture this. You get a gash on your hand in level 3. In one moment, it could heal instantly. In another, it might never stop bleeding. Some explorers have shared stories of injuries that seemed frozen in time, uncurable. Others, cuts closing up before they even feel pain. And aging, that's a joke. Someone who no-clipped into the backrooms in the 80s reportedly walked out decades later looking exactly the same. Not a wrinkle, not a hair out of place. Time in here isn't linear. It's local, it's liquid, it bends around corners, pools in some places, vanishes in others. Now here's where things get even stranger. There's a second phenomenon called spatial time difference, phenomenon 14. It was first documented by the MEG, and it changes everything you thought you understood about the deeper levels. Levels are grouped into clusters, and each cluster has its own time ratio. Levels 0 through 999, fairly stable. Time passes about the same as it does in our world, 1 to 1. But climb into the thousands, and that changes fast. Suddenly, 1 hour inside the backrooms becomes 2 hours outside. Push deeper, and the ratio grows even more extreme. So if someone got lost in a deep level cluster and managed to find their way out, decades might have passed in the real world, even if they only felt minutes tick by inside. Let that sink in. You enter a room, you stay for a coffee, you come back, and the world you knew is gone. And it's not just time. Gravity. You know, that thing that keeps your feet on the floor? Yeah, forget that too. In the backrooms, gravity is more like a mood swing than a force. It can pin you to the ground, yank you to the ceiling, or just let go completely. 1 second you're walking down a hallway, next thing you know, you're drifting sideways into an impossible doorway that wasn't there a moment ago. On level 372, nicknamed Soperus, gravity is a wild mess. Walk 5 feet and you're weightless. Walk another 5 and you're slammed to the floor. It's like the entire level is arguing with itself about what physics should be. And time? Some rooms freeze it entirely. Others warp it so fast you can barely breathe before an hour passes. Level Beta is even worse. It looks like a peaceful, snow-covered forest stuck in eternal dusk. But peaceful is a trap. Here, gravity likes to flip out, literally. One moment, you're walking calmly. The next, you're sucked sideways into another level, or launched into the sky like a rag doll. Explorers have clipped through the floor and ended up in voids, random levels, or worse, different decades. One guy vanished in 2023 and reappeared in 1984. His watch was still ticking. And good luck navigating geometry. Corridors loop into themselves, celestial objects appear in the sky, but no matter how far you walk toward them, they never get closer. Some are fake, others are watching. Now we hit the weird stuff. There are levels so strange they don't even get numbers. They exist outside the usual structure. Places like celestial space, where physics forgets how to behave entirely. Planets float like marbles in a black sea. Gravity isn't consistent, it pulses. Time doesn't just distort, it fractures. On one surface, minutes pass like years. On another, entire centuries vanish in a breath. And distance, that's the biggest joke of all. Two planets could be side by side, but the journey between them takes days. or doesn't end at all. The longer you stay, the more it messes with your perception. You might walk for hours and get nowhere. You might step once and cross light years. It's like moving through an illusion that believes it's real. Ever heard of Brokenology? It's a pseudoscience born in the backrooms. Explorers and theorists trying to piece together what little logic this place has left. They describe forces that shouldn't exist, like broken tendency, a strange phenomenon that lets objects exceed light speed. When this happens, mass goes imaginary, not infinite, imaginary, meaning the object isn't just moving fast, it's literally ripping holes in reality. What happens then? Those objects don't just disappear. They fall into a space called the broken, and no one's ever come back from there. This all leads to a terrifying realization. Not all levels are equal. Some are livable. Others actively want you gone.
That's where the Morrison Scale comes in. It's a rating system created by survivors to measure how stable or unstable a level really is. 2.6 to 5.0. Things are mostly okay. Some weird gravity blips, maybe a flicker of slow time, annoying but manageable. 5.1 to 7.5. Dreamlike madness. Time starts skipping, gravity pulls weird, reactions like fire, decay, or aging become unpredictable. You're constantly second-guessing reality. 7.6 and up, you're not just surviving, you're fighting physics. Reality glitches hard. Objects don't fall, they pause. Your footsteps echo in reverse. And worst of all, you might develop Roth Syndrome, a condition where your mind begins to glitch like the world around you. People affected can't tell what's real or who they are.
So even if you land in a level that seems calm, smooth carpet, dim lighting, nothing strange, you might actually be standing on a crack in the universe where time coughs and gravity winks.
So the question is, can you trust your senses in the backrooms? Can you trust anything? Time lies, gravity betrays, space folds like paper. And the deeper you go, the more the rules disintegrate. But maybe the scariest part of all is that most of the time you won't even notice it happening.
All right, let's take a little detour into some of the strangest, most reality-bending levels in the backrooms. These are places where the laws of physics, well, they don't exactly break, they just don't care anymore. You think you understand gravity, time, or space? These levels will laugh in your face. Let's start low, right near the beginning. Level 1 and Level 2. Now, these ones might seem a bit calmer compared to the chaos we'll get to, but don't let that fool you. There's still something off here. Time doesn't tick quite right. It feels like you're always slightly out of sync. Your thoughts drift, your body feels a bit slow or too fast. And gravity? Every now and then it gets a little glitchy. It's subtle, like the floor nudges upward when you step, or your arms feel lighter for a moment. Rarely violent, but enough to make you double take. You can rest here. Sort of. But the concept of a proper sleep cycle or natural healing, that's just a memory. Now jump all the way to level 372. This one's where things start to go full-on alien. Gravity here is on a mood swing. One moment you're being yanked to the ground like you're wearing lead boots, and the next you're drifting weightlessly into the air. Sometimes there are zones where gravity just doesn't exist at all. Or worse, it reverses entirely, flipping you upside down or sideways without warning. And that's not even the weirdest part. Time, it glitches. Sometimes it rushes forward like it's sprinting, and sometimes it just stops like someone hit pause. The entire place is a living thing. It reshapes itself constantly in what are called restructuring events. You could be walking down a corridor 1 minute, and the next, that same corridor is now a spiral staircase or a bottomless shaft. It's like a kaleidoscope made out of concrete and madness. And exits? Yeah, don't even bother looking for anything that resembles Earth. The level seems to actively repel anything that looks like it leads back to the front rooms. There's a kind of invisible resistance, barriers that twist around you, bending your path without you realizing it. Then there's level beta, or as some wanderers call it, the space and time level.
Imagine walking an endless forest path, stuck in a constant dusk. The light never changes, and neither does the eerie stillness. But here's where things get really trippy. Gravity doesn't just reverse, it rotates. 1 second you're upright, and then suddenly you're walking along a tree trunk sideways like it's nothing. And solid matter? Temporary suggestion. You can phase right through walls or the forest floor sometimes, as if the boundaries between things only occasionally apply. There are moments, glitches really, where you just vanish, teleported. Sometimes to a dark void, sometimes to another dimension entirely. And time? Time does not care. You might walk for 5 minutes and come out 5 years in the past, or in a future where Earth isn't even recognizable anymore. It's like the level itself is a giant time machine, running random programs just to see what happens.
And finally, celestial space. This one isn't really a level in the traditional sense, it's more like a realm. You end up on planets, moons, or just floating chunks of cosmic rock, each with its own set of rules. Gravity is a wild card. Sometimes you weigh nothing, sometimes you're stuck to the ground like you're coated in magnets. Temperature jumps around too. You could be freezing in one spot, then burning in another just a few feet away. Time stretches and shrinks randomly, like some parts are stuck in slow motion while others race ahead. And then come the surface level anomalies. Rivers that flow uphill, molten metal that acts like water, rocks that play music when you step on them. Everything about this place feels like a dream someone had while spiraling through a black hole. So yeah, these levels aren't just visually weird, they're physically impossible. They don't obey the laws of science because they've moved past them. They twist everything you know, gravity, time, space, into something surreal, dangerous, and endlessly fascinating. And if you're not careful, you won't just lose your sense of direction. You might lose your sense of self. All right, let's talk about one of the weirdest things in the backrooms. Why do physics here work the way they do? Or more accurately, why don't they? See, the Backrooms doesn't follow a single rulebook. Instead, it runs on something much stranger: phenomena. These are chaotic reality warping events that happen locally. They can mess with space, time, entropy, even geometry. You'll be walking along like everything's normal, and suddenly gravity disappears, or a hallway stretches into infinity, or time just stops. It's unpredictable and dangerous. Now, researchers who study this stuff, there are lore-based explorers and theorists in the back rooms. They've tried to make sense of it. Some point to clock theory, which imagines the levels like hours on a giant clock face. The deeper you go, the more the time zone shifts. Basically, time itself starts to break apart from our normal world. Another theory is called the dimensional time shift theory, which says each level runs on its own version of time, completely detached from the front rooms. Both theories are just attempts to explain why you could be aging faster in one level or somehow younger in another. So, what does this actually mean for wanderers like us? Imagine your watch is ticking normally, but you're actually aging at half speed, or double. You think only a few hours passed inside, but on the outside, years. What if gravity suddenly flips and you're stuck walking along the ceiling, completely disoriented? Or geometry folds in on itself, teleporting you back to where you started, except now you're upside down and the hallway's twice as long. Sounds like science fiction, right? But these are actual anomalies people have documented through the community. They're what make the backrooms so unsettling. So here's the big answer. Are the physics in the backrooms consistent? Emphatically, not even close. In the early levels, you might get something that feels kind of normal. Time flows regularly, gravity stays put, but that's the exception, not the rule. Go deeper and the rules start bending. Time might be slowed down or sped up, depending on what cluster you're in. Gravity could weaken, disappear, or flip completely. Geometry might seem stable until it suddenly shifts under your feet. Most of these levels don't follow the laws of physics. They mock them. So what actually happens to you when you're inside? In the lower levels, like level 0 through 999, you might be lucky. Spend 3 hours exploring, and it's only been 3 hours in the real world. But deeper than that, you could spend 10 minutes in a room and come out 10 years older. Or step into level beta,
and end up in the past or the far future without any way to return. Gravity might let go of you mid-step. You could be pinned to a wall or stuck walking along the side of a corridor like it's nothing. And space, it bends, walls slide, corridors loop. You might walk straight for hours only to find yourself exactly where you started. So what's the takeaway here? Time and space in the backrooms are fluid, hazardous. Nothing is guaranteed. You can't trust your watch, your footsteps, or even your own perception. If you find yourself in level 372, gravity might flip mid-stride and your watch could start spinning backwards. In level beta, you might get launched into another timeline altogether. And in celestial space, you could be walking on a planet where 1 hour equals 50 years somewhere else. The rules are gone. The only law is chaos. Now, is there any way to stay grounded in all this? Some explorers think the key is movement. Keep going, stay aware. Others try bringing objects from the front rooms to keep their minds stable. But that comes with risks, too. According to Brokenology, front room items might make things worse, accelerating broken tendency, which basically drags you deeper into the unreality. The best chance at survival might be learning to recognize patterns, watching how long time stretches, where gravity feels stable, and how often the layout changes. It's a puzzle, but your life depends on figuring it out. So, big question. Do time and space in the back rooms act like they do in our world? Nope, not even a little. Sure, some shallow levels imitate normal physics, but the deeper you go, the more the rules dissolve. Time compresses or stretches, gravity fades or flips, geometry mutates on the spot. The deeper you wander, the stranger it gets. And hey, if you've made it this far without phasing through the floor or accidentally aging into retirement, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way, next time I unravel some lore where clocks melt and floors float, you'll be right here, stuck in liminal space with me.